out the drums. We call this program process of voting. Just go there, give them your name and your address. That's all. And of course, they will capture you, take your picture, and that's all. You are done. Within 5 minutes, you are done. And after that, when the time comes, they call it claims and objection time. That's when you look at it. They will paste all the results or the names of those that have registered all over the places. You will go to the place you register, check your name that is well spelled, and the information you've given them correct. And that's all. After some time again, they will tell you that your voter's card is ready. You go and pick it. That is all. Be a good Nigerian citizen. Partake in the process, because it's a duty imposed on you by Section 23 of the 1999 Constitution as a good citizen. And you will be better off by voting, because you have your mind that, yes, you voted right. I'm Wale Ogunade, constitutional lawyer, human rights activist, and President, Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you.
Morning in Lagos, the economic capital of Nigeria, and you are welcome to Enterprise Friday on Enterprise Television. I am Kendi Bodering.
And I am Henry Higwebike.
All right, we will kick off with today's newspaper review before diving into the main conversation of the day. Trust me, you don't want to miss a moment. You can, join our conversation by dropping your comments, liking, and following us on all our social media platforms at EnterpriseTV 7. Joining us today to share the matters at hand is Emeka Madnago. He's a journalist and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Emeka, for your time.
Okay, so
let's start with our newspapers. What do you think we should start with? We have about 4 newspapers here.
We can start. Let's start with the Punch. So the big story on the Punch newspaper, we have coalition demands Atiku Obi's full membership.
Okay, and equally on the top strip, 804 billion naira arms import ignites call for local production.
Okay, we have Ladoja ascends Olubadan throne.
And equally, Southeast governors are pushing for Nnamdi Kanu's release, OT.
Okay, we also have INEC gears up for off-cycle polls, promotes 471 officers.
And equally, 6 hospitalized as Lagos seals collapsed 2-story building.
We also have marketers fault Dangote's 500,000 litre fuel delivery French show.
All right, Emeka, allow us to start with the Southeast governors pushing for Nnamdi Kanu's release, and that's coming from Alex Oti, the governor of Abia State. Of course, the growing call is needed at this point, knowing that nothing has been, of course, held against him so far from the courts and all that. But why is he still incarcerated? What is the unwritten memo that had kept Nnamdi Kanu still behind bars?
Yeah, I want to think. Thank you very much. I want to think that is he has his defense team. The defense team has made a no-case submission. That means they have nothing, they have nothing to answer. So the court has fixed October 10, to decide on it. So maybe that's what they're waiting for before taking a final decision on, discontinuing. So because if the court upholds the no-case submission, it will dismiss the case, to dismiss the case. So I guess that's what they're waiting for, because, of course, again, on the other side, there have been calls for a political solution to his release. That is not the first time. In the case of Omoyele Sowore, the publisher of Sahara Reporters, the same thing was done. The federal government discontinued his prosecution. So it is within the province of the government to say, well, we will not gain anything by pursuing this line of prosecution. So I think, but there have been calls for his release, based on his reported medical condition. So, and of course, he has asked to be moved to the National Hospital Abuja, but the judge turned it down, which I think the judiciary should be mindful of pandering to government's interests, you know, because justice should not be seen to be selective, even though that's the case in Nigeria. Politicians have been granted a bail to even travel abroad for medical treatment, you know, and somebody is not saying, Nnamdi Kanu is not saying he wants to go abroad. He just said to the national hospital. I mean, the court should have been gracious enough to grant it to him. I mean, they are not losing anything. You know, you are not going to lose anything by saying he should, you know, be taken to the national hospital for specialist care. So the judiciary should not lend itself as a weapon to abrogate or to abridge or deny citizens' rights.
But don't you think that would undermine the hospital itself in knowing that he is a person of interest and lots of things might happen afterwards? Why not drag whatever professionals that there are from the national hospital to wherever he is kept?
No, why?
Which
it won't undermine anything. No. Has it not been the custody of the DSS? Wasn't there a time some people tried to attack the DSS headquarters? Boko Haram terrorists tried to invade the DSS headquarters some years ago. So what is the... There's no way you keep him that cannot be breached. The point is that, you know, Nnamdi Kanu has told you that he has no connection to terrorism. He has said he has no connection to the violent acts, you know, to the violent, to the activities of insurgents in the southeast. So what is there to fear? Of course, you have security now around him. And then you will now start carrying the machines, you know, the ECG machines, the MRI machines, you know, and all of those things to the DSS, you know, the Yellow House or the DSS, you know, headquarters. You know, and there have been cases where people were kept in the hospital. People were kept, you know, people undergoing trial were kept in the hospital, and heavens did not fall. So, you know, even armed robbery suspects have been taken to hospital for treatment. Terrorism suspects have been taken to hospital for treatment. So, why is his own case different?
Okay, what about, let's bring it down to, or take it out like the international states. How does international opinion factor into the handling of Kanu's trial?
Well, Kanu is a British citizen.
Yeah.
You know, so he has accused the British government of the UK government of not paying, of not making any efforts for his, you know, towards his release. Well, and then, of course, we know that it has also stirred interest in the US. You know, people in the US have called for his release. You see, the basic thing is that Kanu's trial has been on since 2017. It has been held. He was arrested 2017. It's 2025, almost 10 years. So, I mean, what do you gain by just holding on to him indefinitely? You know, he was granted bail. You are the ones that sent the military to go and attack his father's house, even while he was on bail. And he said for that reason he had to escape. He had to flee the country. So eventually you renditioned him, you know, from Kenya. A court in Kenya has declared his rendition illegal. So the basis on which you brought him in, as a signatory to, you know, various charters, including the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, you must respect his rights. Renditioning him shows that you are a lawless state. And Nigeria should not make the attempt to be counted among lawless states. We know lawless states, North Korea, some of all these countries, you know, that don't obey international law. But we should not be counted because it will be detrimental to us. So what I will advise is that there can be a trial within trial to say, okay, based on extenuating circumstances, he should be granted bail and taken to hospital, you know, for treatment, for specialist care. I mean, he has a right, even a suspect has a right to life.
Yeah.
So you cannot put nothing on nothing. He has not been found guilty of anything. So you cannot now begin to, even somebody serving a jail term, even somebody on death row, as long as the person is alive, is entitled to, you know, enjoy the liberties attached to their fundamental human rights.
Very well said. Okay, I think you've really said it in this question. Or okay, let's just talk about it. In your view, what is the most realistic resolution to this lingering matter?
the best resolution is granting bail, dismiss the case against him. You know, because there are claims that he did this. You know, with due respect to the court, I would just say, at this point, nothing will really be gained by convicting and sentencing him. Nothing will be gained. Because, you see, the issues in the Southeast have gone beyond Nnamdi Kanu. He has been out of, you know, since 2021. They have held on to him. That's 4 years. He has been out of the scene. Yet, you thought that by holding on to him, the violence in Southeast would abate. But the violence has continued. You know, Simon Ekpa, who made himself, you know, the Prime Minister of Biafra government in exile, he has been arrested and convicted by a court in Finland within, you know, just within a year. So, what you need to do is this. You can use Kanu as, you know, a stakeholder to bring about peace in the East. After all, you have a reintegration program for Boko Haram, for ISWAP. You repentant Boko Haram. You have that program. Why are you now doing a separate thing in the case of Nnamdi Kanu? Why are you now delaying his trial? The former judge, you know, the case has been taken away from the former judge and given to a new judge. And the current judge has shown interest in, you know, making sure that the case, you know, trial is expedited. So what I think is that, having made a no-case submission, that the court should just use this opportunity to, you know, discontinue the trial. Even the AGF, the Attorney General of the Federation, it will serve the interest of the nation to discontinue his trial. And then now work out ways whereby, you know, those youths who are involved in these things, how they can be de-radicalized. Those of them that can be de-radicalized, those of them, you know, then you find jobs. Because that's part of the problem. You have socioeconomic issues. The neglect of the Southeast is also part of the problem. When people talk about marginalization, you know, people just turn it to a joke. But these things are there. Talk about federal presence. The other time, somebody was talking about Nnamdi Azikiwe's mausoleum, where you bury some. I said it on national TV. I said, what kind of a thing is that? You are counting as a national project. Do people go there to draw salaries? Is that a factory? Is that a place where people, you know, I mean, you talk about that you did roads. What about for others? Some other states have how many? 3, 4 federal universities. They have federal institutions. They have federal presence. Investors. But in a lot of the things you have brought out for states, development programs and all that, you have left out the Southeast. You left out the Southeast from the Port Harcourt, I mean, the rail project. The rail projects you've had, you left out the Southeast. The Port Harcourt Abuja Railway, you started it. Later, when there was agitation, you now said you are going to divert it. Look, all of these tricks will not work. You see all these petty-minded, small-minded fellows who cannot think beyond. Buhari, who called the Southeast a dirty circle, is he not dead? Let people realize one thing, that you are not God. You will spend your time on earth and go away. Use the opportunity to do good. And what am I saying? Let there be federal presence in the Southeast. Use Nnamdi Kanu to, you know, reach out, to work towards peace, to work towards de-radicalization, to work towards, you know, an environment that can encourage investors to come in, bring in money. And then the federal government will not have to be risking the lives of its soldiers, DSS, police, security agents, you know, to secure the Southeast. This is a golden opportunity, you know, because like that saying goes, it's not who is right or who is wrong, but who is left. That's what's important.
Very well said, Emeka. But let's take a look at another story, still from the Punch newspaper. Coalition demands Atiku Obi's full membership. APC orders a pushback as coalition directs members to abandon parties for the ADC. Emeka, where do we stand now, especially with Obi and Atiku Abubakar? Both of them seem not to have stamped their decision on any party as at today. So what's happening exactly?
No, you know, it's a coalition. So which is a grouping of different political parties, different interests, different individuals. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has already declared his interest, you know, in running for president on the platform of the ADC. He has left the PDP and moved to the ADC. An aide to Peter Obi said he would make his decision known in November. There's still enough time for, you know, to deal with all these things. Peter Obi says that he is more interested in helping to make the lives of the ordinary Nigerians more meaningful than in getting any ticket or anything. So there are discussions. You can see he has been traveling, you know, he has met different, he even went to Ghana, met with Dele Momodu, you know, publisher of Ovation, and, you know, a former chieftain of the PDP who has left the PDP, gone to, you know, ADC. You know, he has been making consultations here and there. Then Atiku himself too has been making consultations. And you remember that INEC just some days ago, you know, recognized retired Brigadier General David Mark as the chairman and former governor, Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola as secretary.
So INEC had certified them?
Yes.
Okay.
So
now there's no more rancor?
Yeah, there's none. Just forget about those fellows who are, you know, just allowing themselves, you know, to be used to just, you know, it's like a storm in the teacup. Because democracy is about freedom of association. It's in the Constitution. If you feel you have lost out in a system, you can move to another party. Or what you do, you reconcile with your party members. But you hear some very funny excuses. I was this in the party, and so I should continue to call the shots. Whereas it is very clear that you are being used by external forces to disadvantage. What will you gain? What will you gain? If you are not ready to play politics, then stay by the side. Politics is about permanent interests. No permanent friendship, no permanent enmity. Permanent interests. If you are not ready to, you know, be a part of the, you know, the quest for the interests of the party, then you step out. You can go to any other platform, you know, where you will find accommodation. But don't stay within and destabilize the party. The Supreme Court has already said that leadership of a party, you know, is the internal affairs of the party. Yet you see some people trying to use the court to circumvent what the Supreme Court said. They will not succeed. They can file 1 million court cases. They will not succeed. Because let me tell you, if they were using their own resources for those court cases, by now they would have gone broke. So let Nigerians be focused. Right now on INEC's calendar, you have voter registration. That's what should even occupy the interest of people right now. Vote, you know, encouraging as many Nigerians as possible to go out, you know, get registered, you know, update their registration details, and then, you know, voter education. When it's time for election, because we have off-cycle elections coming up. November 8th in Anambra, and then one in Ekiti next year, one in Osun State next year. On and on and on. We'll get to Bayelsa, we'll get to, you know, I think Kogi, you know, and then I think Kogi. So what we need to do is that there should be emphasis on voter education. That's what we should be doing now. But the point is that even the media has not helped matters. We are just focused on 2027, 2027, 2027. And there are issues right now. Issue of government this year. The Tinubu, you know, the revenue, the Tinubu administration has made revenue of 411%. And 95% of that revenue has gone into servicing debts. That is scandalous. You're making revenue, but you're still borrowing. And the revenue you're making, you're using it to service the debts. Those are the issues that should occupy attention now. Not issues about somebody, a member of one House rep, said Tinubu, Obi and Atiku should step down for Tinubu. What is that? And the media will project such things. What nonsense is that? Political parties still have, you know, a long time before the whole party primaries. So Nobody can come out and conclusively say, Amechi has said he will run for president. But by the time, INEC says, okay, parties can choose the presidential candidate, he may say he's not running anymore. So why are you now heating up the polity? Just because you want to sell your papers or you want to get traffic. To me, there are more important issues, please.
Okay, so do Nigerians trust these coalitions, or do they just see them as temporary power deals?
You see, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, why should Obi be related with El-Rufai? Why should Obi relate with Pantabi? Why should Obi relate with Atiku? If Obi accepts to be running mate Atiku, I'd rather vote for Tinubu. I tell them, vote for him. Look, vote for Tinubu. Obi has his own PVC. You have your own PVC. Nobody can force you. Yeah. Whoever you want to vote for, but you will bear fully the consequences. So the coalition, whether you trust the coalition or don't trust the coalition, they will go ahead with their business. Yeah. It is now up to you to ask yourself, under this Tinubu administration, since May 29, 2023, how has my life been? How have I fared? Has this administration made my life better? Can I pay children's school fees easily? Do I have a job? Can my salary take me beyond the bank? When you say take home pay, can it take you beyond the ATM or POS where you go and withdraw? Look at other issues. Do I feel safer? Do I feel happy as a Nigerian? That is it. If you feel whatever answer you arrive at, then the next logical thing is you will take your decision. Yeah. But don't base it on as if you are doing Atiku a favor, or be doing Obi a favor, or be doing whoever a favor. It is one man that will be declared the winner of the 2027 election. And it's still a long time away. Yeah. When you say you don't trust the coalition, trust Tinubu now. It's a fact now. Was it not yesterday that 19 plazas were demolished in Trade Fair? The other day, people's property, ancestral lands were demolished in Oronshoki, in Lagos State. And look at it. So, if the demolition of your properties, they still say you trust the APC, please go ahead. If you can barely feed, you say you trust APC, please go ahead. But one thing you should know is that elections have consequences.
What consequences are?
Oh, yes, the policies, the actions of whoever wins, will determine. Yes, there was a governor in a northern state who, after some years, in his first term, said he had nothing else to do. He now went to buy an aircraft and started flying all over the place. Unfortunately, the aircraft crashed, and the man was in a, in a vegetative state till he died. You understand? Elections have consequences. Don't think that, you can plant corn and harvest carrots. No.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. Things don't work that way at all. So let people think very, very clearly. Some people said they will teach me, in 2023, they said we'll teach me to be a lesson by voting for Tinubu. Has that stopped? Has Peter Obi not had his breakfast today? Has that stopped Peter Obi from? Now look at what they are doing. Bringing up fake news that Peter Obi met with MC Oluomo, that Peter Obi met with Donald Trump. You see, when people cannot use their brains to, debate issues, that's when you see them going into. See the other one. They said one consultant that he issued a press statement for Atiku that he will put your interests of Yorubas. And it was fake.
Oh, really?
But the media carried that story.
Yeah, it made
that was a fake story.
Publication
It was a fake story. Somebody was even arguing with me about Obi meeting on. I said it's a lie. He was arguing with me on WhatsApp this morning. I said it's a lie. He said it's not true. I said it's a lie until somebody now brought out the statement issued by Obi that this thing is false. So it has come to the point where I will advise the media, always cross-check. Cross-check. Atiku said this, and please, Atiku's media aides are on social media. their phone numbers are available. P2B's aides on social media, their phone numbers are available. Please cross-check, because you have people who are conflict entrepreneurs. They are rumor merchants going about issuing all kinds of things. So even when the new Pope was inaugurated, they didn't even care. They still took their falsehood to the Vatican. Look at Japan. Japan had a good policy for, a tourism village for Nigeria. Yesterday, they cancelled it.
Really?
Because some aides of President Bola Tinubu issued a false reporting of his state visit to Japan. They issued falsehood. And then that is stirred up a negative backlash in Japan. And the next thing, the Japanese government had a noble intention. They've cancelled it. So, you see, fake news will always hurt. You see, you cannot put nothing on nothing. Fake news will always hurt the people, whether you like it or in the long run. It will always hurt. That's why we tell people, stop orchestrating falsehood, because you don't know. It's like throwing a stone in the market. You don't know whether your mother is there. It will hammer your mother on the head. So we should discuss issues. Leave all this pandering, whether, P2B has not, he said yes, he will run in 2027, but he has not said the platform where he will run. So, I think we should just focus on issues.
All right. What other stories do we have?
Okay, still on the Punch.
Any other story
okay,
from
yes,
another newspaper?
yes,
That is if the time is there. Because we are short
Okay,
of time
we have
at this point.
on the Guardian, we have the big story. Nigeria not broke, but deep fiscal concerns linger.
Yes, Emeka, I would love us to take on that. And
Who said that?
Wrap. Well, it is from the Nigeria's Physical Performance Overview, actually. Economic recovery. Nigeria not broke, but deep physical concerns linger.
I said it earlier. You made revenue of 411%. So the problem is not revenue.
So this
Nigeria doesn't have a revenue problem.
Okay.
You have now spent 95% of that, because you expect that if you make such an amount of revenue, that things should be looking brighter.
Good, yeah.
But you are now borrowing, converting the loans to 40-year tenure, 50-year tenure. And in converting those things, you have there's a price to pay. You have to pay, you have to service the debt. So out of that revenue, 411%, you are spending. You're spending from it. Now, when you say Nigeria is not broke, you see, I think those who wrote that report were just playing on semantics. Look, yes, Nigeria is getting revenue. But the problem is the debts, the quantum of debts, means that Nigeria has to keep its currency devalued. That is the problem. Why things are expensive? This cup, this mug, is the same way, if this mug was made in the year 2020, is the same way it still is in 2025. But the thing is that when you now start playing the politics of pricing and devaluation, then if this mug was 10 naira in 2020, you may not have it for 2,000 or 5,000 naira now. But it's still the same mug. So because government has been borrowing, government borrows so much domestically, and then has also been borrowing externally. That's why inflation has remained high.
But the president said he would stop. He had stopped borrowing domestically. You
see, one thing I discovered with this administration is that they try to use words and figures to confuse Nigerians. Right now, we're operating 3 budgets. There was a budget of 2023. There was a supplementary budget in 2023. There was a budget in 2024. There's a budget in 2025. All of them running concurrently. 4 running at the same time. So when you say you have, for instance, met your revenue target as at August, which of the budgets? That is why I say we should leave all these policies of 2027 and concentrate on the issues that are affecting us now. Which of the budgets? Is it 2023? Is it 20? Is it the supplementary? Is it 2024? Because 2025, you acknowledge that you have a deficit of 13 trillion naira. So what it means is that for every month in 2025, you are going to service a deficit of 1 trillion, 1 trillion, 1 trillion, which will even overlap into next year. Now, meanwhile, the deficit of 2024, you have not cleared it. You have had to borrow to make up that. So when you come and tell us, hey, the National Reserve rose to the highest in 10 months, you are just playing, you are just like a magician, juggling balls, thinking, you can play the people. The people will get tired and start sleeping because they will just know that, look, you are playing yourself. Come out and be sincere. Your measures have not been working because the cost of running the government remains high. This certain project like the Lagos-Calabar Highway should have been given to the private sector. Today you say it's government funded. Tomorrow you say it's private sector. All of these things will not help. 3, you have not significantly tackled corruption. People are they are still looting the treasury. And your rate of recovery has not matched the rate of looting. Look at the latest now, the one in River State. You are asking the solar administrator how he spent 400 billion without a tangible project. Were you dreaming when you removed the governor and you put him there? Were you dreaming? What were you expecting? You want to plant corn and reap tomatoes? The man said, I'm not answerable to anybody. The solar administrator said, I'm not answerable to anybody. When the Rivers House Assembly was talking of probing him, he said, I'm not answerable to anybody. Okay, where is over 400 billion? According to National Bureau of Statistics, the money you see. House of Assembly, he said, the new House of Assembly complex, he said he will complete. Not done. The roads, not done. Nothing. And the civil servants gave him an award. It's a civil servant friendly. You see how we joke so much in this country. That has shown now that the state of emergency was not necessary. That if President Bola Tinubu has said, look, I will not declare a state of emergency, we will resolve this problem in River State. There wasn't any need. But till today, we've not seen one suspect put on trial for bombing the Trans-Niger pipeline and the other pipeline. The 5 people who were killed after the local government election conducted by Governor Siminala Ifubara, we've not seen anybody being prosecuted for their murder. And so on and so forth. The House of Assembly was bombed. Nobody has been put on trial till now. So when you take all this whimsical action, you are hurting the nation. You are hurting the economy. You are hurting the economy. And then you are talking of fiscal, all those things, you just find English. The fact of the matter is that Nigeria is in a precarious position. We may not be broke because we're getting revenue. But at the same time, we are not in a position where we can discharge many of our obligations. For instance, we don't have ambassadors in foreign missions because we say we don't have money to take care of them. So what it means is that if you are borrowing heavily, your debt service is 95% of your revenue, then what it means is that you are borrowing to pay salaries. How will you meet other socioeconomic needs? Take care of health, education. How? ASU is there, still crying. Medical doctors are crying. Name them, different sectors are crying. How will you beat all those? Because you don't have the money. Or you say Nigeria is not broke. Let me tell you, if somebody is spending, look at personally, if what you spend on debts, on repaying the servicing debts is more than, you have huge revenue. Let's say you get 1 million naira. And then you spend 950,000 naira on paying debts. And meanwhile, you have obligations of 5 million. You are not broke, but you are not solvent. You say fiscal concerns remain. You are just blowing grammar. You are not broke, but you are not solvent. You are not in a position to discharge your basic responsibilities. Period.
Well said.
All right, I think we just have to leave it at this particular point because of whatever it is or whatever sort of semantics that would be applied by the government. The real story on our streets in the marketplace is that Nigerians are yet to see the renewed hope of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 3 years down the line. We're just about to crisscross yet into another election cycle in 2027. I do not know if the renewed hope will be renewed hope raised to power 2. Maybe to give us a better renewed hope.
We just hope we have the. In fact, no, we are not looking for the best. Just we need a solution.
No, we need the best. Nigerians, we need the best.
A solution. At least if we have a solution, the best will come from it.
It is not just about having a leader, but having a soldier. They say there's a difference between having a soldier as a president and having a politician as a president. When you have a politician as a president, what you see today in Nigeria is what we have. But when you have a soldier as the president, he understands the rule of engagement and will ensure that his people reap the dividends of democracy. Emeka will still be here to take us on our main conversation. When we return, INEC worried over poor voter registration turnout in the southeast and the south-south region. In a bit, it's still Enterprise Friday. Please don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
Good. This is still Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for this morning. 5 weeks into the continuous voter registration, CVR turnout remains low in the southeast and the south-south compared to other regions. INEC data shows the southeast recorded 76,493 online and 22,991 physical registrations, while the south-south had 280,904 online and 27,690 physical figures, far below Osun State alone.
Very well said. The poor response is linked to mistrust in the electoral process, inadequate mobilization, and cumbersome procedures. Now, groups have raised concerns urging citizens to register. Ohanaeze Ndigbo appealed to the southeast to take exercise seriously, while ACF reminded Nigerians that vote registration is key to democracy. Afenifere said many wait until deadlines before registering, adding that mistrust in government fuels apathy. PANDEF, however, argued that South-South residents are willing but constrained by cost and distance, urging INEC to take registration closer to communities.
Yes, so while they ask that registration should be taken closer to the communities, Southeast residents have said their reluctance stems from disillusionment as they no longer believe votes count. Well, let's get talking. Emeka is still here. Thank you so very much, Emeka.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let's start our discussion today. It's really interesting that the southeast and the south-south have low turnout. Equally, the northern part of Nigeria. This is actually strange. We've always known the north to be conscious of some of these things. So what's happening exactly? Is it because when we have a leader from a particular region, then that is when you begin to see lots of seriousness from that region when it comes to our civic responsibility?
Thank you very much. One of the things has to do with NIN.
Okay.
You know, when you had the manual voter register, you know, anything could be imputed into it. But when you now began to, you know, update the register, you know, by making it, you know, linking it to NIN and all of that. The NIN will show your age. But in the case, you know, in the north, for instance, where you have underage voters, when you bring your NIN, it will show, I mean, your NIN, for instance, may show you were born 20 years ago. But the person before us is looking like he was born 8 years ago. So how will we register such a person? So they won't even go. They won't turn up. So that is one of the things. Then the other thing has to do with this issue of votes don't count. If votes didn't count, politicians will not hire dogs to snatch ballot boxes. If votes didn't count, they will not pay, what they call in the Southwest here, Edibo, Esebe. Now, it got to a point where it was Edibo Erale. Then it was Edibo Esebe. That is vote and get money to cook soup.
Yeah.
Then now became vote and get money to buy land. Edibo Erale. So now it has got to a point of see and buy. See and buy, whereby you vote, and then before you put your paper in the ballot box, you turn it this way. There's an agent watching you. You confirm, and the person, okay, counts your money, or signal somebody else somewhere, So you go to that person, collect 5,000 or 10,000, depending on how desperate, and how much they value that election. 5,000, 10,000. Even I learned in the last off-cycle election, in the last supplementary elections, that was as much as 20,000 in some places. So if votes didn't count, politicians will not be caught, trying to snatch ballot boxes, trying to thumbprint. Politicians will not spend so much money to thwart the process. So the fact of the matter is that, there are logistical hitches. People have to trek long distances in some cases, and we know what the security situation is in some of those places, and so all of these things count. All of these things have to do with, because even when you look at the Osun State and other places you mentioned, the online registration, the figure, of physical registration has not tallied with the online registration. So where are those people? Where are the people registered? Where are they?
So does it mean that most of the online registration are ghost registrations?
It's possible. It is possible. Okay, look at now the federal government. President Bola Tinubu has said that all ministries, departments, and agencies should embark on a verification of certificates. That they want to fish out fake certificates. So it tells you that it is very important that we develop processes for verifying, for verifying things like this, issues about voter registration, and all of these things here and there. We should not just take it. 80 million Nigerians have registered. You have to verify. You have to do forensic verification. I mean, an area that is sparsely populated or an area that has been racked by violence, and you are telling me you got 1 million votes from where? How? Look at Edo State, where the governor said he will get 2.5 million votes for President Bola Tinubu in 2027. How many people turned out in total for the senatorial, for the House of Reps election, supplementary election? How many people came out in total?
But he said he would use diaspora votes if it is allowed. It is part of his strategy.
To use diaspora votes, yes. and
make up to
who assured him that he will get 2.5 million people in diaspora to vote? Who assured him that Edo people in diaspora are up to 2.5 million? Where did he get the figure? Did he do? Because he never announced that he had done a census of Edo people living in diaspora to have arrived at the figure of 2.5 million. So you see, these are the things politicians just say, just to be noticed. Somebody will just come, and just throw a figure because they know that the Nigerian media will not fact check. They know the media will not verify. So INEC, that has been part of the problem. I was also involved in my area in trying to mobilize people to, turn up, because people complained that the distance where INEC was doing the registration was far away. So there was a suggestion that if they could move the registration, to a place that would be closer to the people. Many of these people had gone to work. So they'll tell you they have to go to work. So, these are the things. That's why we are calling for electoral reforms, to make it that the BVAS, IREF will be in the Constitution and the Electoral Act, so that, it will be easier to use digital means, you know, to get people registered. You don't have to keep people on the sun. Will they leave their job? Will they not go to school and say they are going to stand somewhere to register?
But okay.
Yes, we should update our thinking. The way we process things should be updated.
Speaking of updated, yes. So, but Emeka, let me ask you this question: why do many Nigerians wait until the last minute, you know, to register, despite repeated awareness campaign?
They don't believe now. Maybe they target that, okay, when the process is ending. Yes. Maybe by then they will get leave from their office. Okay. You know, and then they can now, or maybe swap with somebody. Okay, please stand in for me. Let me go and register. This thing is ending. It's like that. People are more concerned about earning their daily bread now than going to register to get people. And as a matter of fact, let me tell you one interesting thing. There are a lot of people who take those voter cards, those PVCs, are just a free means of identification. Driver's license, you pay for it now. Yes. International travel passport has been raised to 100,000 naira. NIN is not free now. But voter registration is free. So a lot of people can't get it. Whether they will turn up on the day of it, you know, it's up to them. They will tell you, look, that politicians, and that takes us to the point of mistrust in government. When the government does not live up to its billing, that is when you see that people lose faith in the political process. The National Assembly that's supposed to ensure, you know, that it makes laws that will uphold the sanctity of the ballot. National Assembly is telling you that it will mobilize. Senate President is telling you that he and his people will mobilize votes for a particular candidate. How do you have trust in such a process? When people cannot control themselves, look, oh, I'm a lawmaker. I shouldn't make certain comments. But here you are going to receive defectors to your party. So how will you now encourage a free, fair, and credible process? It won't work. It won't work that way. So the politicians themselves, they have by themselves weaponized mistrust against themselves. Because they think if the people are hungry, they'll be thinking only about survival. They won't monitor us. Okay, if the people are not sufficiently educated, they won't be thinking about, you know, fact-checking what we say, you know, and verifying the things we... Who loses at the end? You cannot, you see, you cannot burn a candle from both ends. It will just burn out immediately. So we got to realize that governance is not rocket science. At the same time, there's responsibility tied to it. So it doesn't matter whether you count the Southeast or the South-South. The thing is this. Election monitoring agencies, organizations like YAGA, you know, should, like SERAP, should look into, you know, this apathy. They need to investigate and tell us what is going on. The media should leave 2027, this fixation of 2027, and go out and find out, ask the people what is wrong. What is really going on? The media should do fact-based, you know, fact-based verification. I did some verification and I said, look, that some, you know, socioeconomic factors, people have to go to work, some of these things, you know, then the distance to the, you know, I mean, we thought that when INEC created more polling units, I think it got to 190,000 polling units, you know, but these things were not enough because the distance people had to go from, you know, their homes to these places. And they also have to look at the cost of transport. Security issues too, in the Southeast, for instance. You know, remember, some time ago, an INEC official was killed by some brigands. You know, so when you look at all those things, and then don't forget again, people of the Southeast origin, you know, are known to be gregarious. They travel. They mostly stay in other places. So there's a possibility that a lot of the people whose figure, all the big figures you're seeing in those days, are also people of Southeast, South, and even Northern extraction. You know, so what we need to do now is to improve on security, the security of the country. You know, improve on the security of the country, And then let's stop weaponizing numbers, using numbers to play identity politics, where you say, look at NIN registration, look at BVN registration. It was this number in this state. So what it means is that this ethnic group is ahead. No, you are just lying. You are telling lies. Because it could be, some of those numbers also include people who are not from that ethnic group. You know it yourself, but you just want to be mischievous. What do you stand to gain? Nothing. Nothing. You just help politicians say, yeah, thank you very much. Maybe they wire you 2,000, urgent 2K. And then, you know, you go and feed for that day. After that, what happens? For how long will you keep lying, twisting figures, you know, spinning falsehood? For how long will you continue doing that? So it is very, very important for people to be realistic, to smell the coffee. Let governance be real. Let government work for the people. And then look at over the years, what has been the turnout, percentage turnout in elections? People are not interested in elections because politicians will say one thing and do another thing. Look at the roads, are so bad. The roads are so bad. You have insecurity. You have strike here and there. People cannot pay rent. People cannot pay school fees. You know, people cannot go to, a lot of people are now using native concoctions, agbo, because they cannot afford to go to hospital. You say you want to expand health insurance, but it ends there where you pick that microphone after talking and drop it. That is where it ends. You know, people cannot afford card. You say card is 3,000. People can't afford it. They would rather use that 3,000 to buy beans. Maybe buy some cups of rice, some cups of beans. They maybe buy fish, mix it. At least summer, or buy gari. At least it can take care of a meal for 2 days. Yeah. You know, just put something inside belly. Not necessarily that you get feel, but at least if you put like 5 spoons of gari in your tummy with some spoons of beans, let's just go and drink water and then be watching. Just be watching. You know, very soon it will be nightfall. We'll go and sleep. Forget about the hunger. Then we'll wake up tomorrow morning. Okay, there's some beans remaining. Okay, we just warm it. That is it. I'm telling you, that is the daily fare of many Nigerians. True. You are telling them about what is their business with PVCs. So you must make the country better, so that people can be more interested and invested that this government now my own, our own. People who are stakeholders in the system will not go and bust pipelines. They will not go and vandalize high tension lines. Yes, they will not. They will not go and dig. They will not go and spoil public infrastructure.
Very well, because I was speaking about, you know, wobbling our railways. You can see what happened in Abuja, Kaduna.
They will not. People who are stakeholders. But when you make it look like what's it concerned with government, what do you know? You should keep quiet. Okay, they will keep quiet and then go and do what will make you hear them in another way. That's what the politicians don't tell you. I don't talk. What do you know? What do you know? Are you telling me you know more than the president? Well, I may ignore you. But there are people who say, okay, you want me to shut up? Okay, I'll shut up. But I'll go and vandalize high tension line. 330 kVA line, I'll go and vandalize it. I'll go and pull down the towers. Then you will hear me. There are people who say, okay, I can't get a job or anything. They'll go into kidnapping. You will hear them. And do all kinds of... Because you are not carrying the people along in governance. You are not meeting the needs of the people. And that is where the problem is. We are not doing governance that touches the people. It's just governance. Somebody was telling me in a local government, look at the one governor was saying he just opened the first third road in the local government. I said, this man doesn't even know he's embarrassing himself with this thing. That means the chairman of all the chairmen of that local government, from the day it was created, should be tried. Because if you can look at their budget, you will see road construction. Where did the money go? You see, when politicians say certain things out of excitement, yeah, I want to show that my predecessors, they are useless. you don't know you can put people in trouble. In a working system, all of them will be rounded up. People will go and say, okay, we'll get the budget. From the inception of that, we'll get the budget. Then we'll look at the budget of the state.
Yes.
From the inception of that local government. We will see budget for road construction. For that, where did this money go? And then people will now begin to face trial. In a proper country, in a proper system, people should stand trial for that statement. But what do we have? Anything goes. Who cares? Who gives a damn? And that is why it now translates to the fact that at the end of the day, figures will be manipulated.
Now, Emeka, let's take a look at other very key indices to reasons why people no longer have belief in our electoral process. And we cannot finish all of this conversation without mentioning the big elephants in the room, or elephants in the room. And one is INEC. The second one is our court system, our judiciary. INEC has been not so good with conducting elections in Nigeria. We thought that the off-cycle would maybe teach them some lessons after the 2023 general elections, but the results that we saw where one party takes almost every local government area. A very key example is with Lagos, with Edo and all the other parties and all other states. So I would love you to speak to the issue of INEC being a part of the rot that we have, and equally the judiciary, because now people feel that they are no longer the ones to decide who leads them, but the court.
Yeah, thank you very much. You didn't mention the security agencies. That's another big elephant in the room. You see, the key thing has to do with the desperation of politicians. They want to go there to loot. How many of them want to go there to serve? You just saw one state, Adamawa, sending the wives of local government chairmen to Turkey to go and learn how to participate in governance. Come on. The constitution doesn't even recognize the office of a first lady. You don't recognize the wife of the president or the vice president or governors. Then you are taking wives of local government chairmen, which is actually an impeachable offense, which is an offense that should send some people to jail. You're sending them to Turkey. So when people look at them, they'll just tell you, well, what is my own? Well, if you can't vote, at the end of the day, they will do what they like. INEC has not conducted itself in the way that even INEC acknowledges it. If you go to their website, you will see where they talked about, even look at the report on the 2023 election, where INEC admitted that, it has fallen short of evil standards it set for itself. Part of it has to do with logistic challenges, the challenges of security. The police, civil defense, army will tell you they will deploy thousands of personnel. But on the day of election, you won't see them.
Or even right before their eyes, people will be, disenfranchising others, and they won't say anything about it.
Yeah, it is because we don't have leaders who are interested in building the country. They prefer to keep Nigeria down. Let me tell you, I've said this thing, and I'll say it again today. There is no problem in Nigeria that doesn't have a solution. If people are sick, go and find out why are they sick. Why is there malaria prevalence with billions of naira voted?
So, but what do you think if, for instance, we are looking, or do you have another question?
Okay. No, I think the one I went to actually said it.
Okay, so since she doesn't have a question, okay, so what do you think is the big problem now? Because knowing that, what's the name of that INEC chairman now?
Mahmoud Yakubu, they are going.
They are going.
Yes.
I learned he has been sent on terminal leave. So the person acting is, I think is it Mr. Olumeko or something like that.
Okay, the one standing in for.
Standing in, yes.
for it. So okay. So I think you were still saying something about that.
So
what you want to I was saying something that, if we have leaders who are interested in building the country, they will not be desperate. Then again, we need to look at our electoral process. This idea of winner takes all.
Okay.
Look at in the 2023 presidential election. None of the candidates had up to 10% of the votes. Look at even the person declared winner. How many votes did he have? So we need to look at this issue of winner takes all. Just if somebody is just ahead by 10%, you know, somebody just ahead by maybe 1,000 votes or even 800 votes, you know, he or she can be declared the winner. No, we need to look at it that if the voting does not reach a certain threshold, no winner should be declared.
Are you asking for the adoption of the electoral college?
Possibly, if it is possible. If it is possible, yes. If it is possible, even though it's not perfect, because in the US we saw in the year 2000 how, you know, we saw the problem when Al Gore, you know, ran against was it George Bush, you know. We saw what came out of it, you know.
Al Gore actually won. He won, but of course,
popular
because
vote.
of the college vote.
Look at Hillary Clinton too. Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Yes. Donald Trump won the electoral college. So even at that, there is no perfect system. But the point is that you have to make every effort to make the system better. There is no perfect system. Even the United States, there are still complaints that the Republicans are trying to redraw districts and, you know, manipulate the process. But what we are talking about is this. You have to make sure that as much as possible, the process at least meets a certain threshold of believability, of acceptability. You have to make sure of that. And then you have the courts. I, for one, believe that, look, the judiciary, with due respect to them, has not acquitted itself in terms of handling election petitions. You know, some of the rulings and the idea that you can bank on technicalities to, you know, decide election petitions has really robbed the system of the credibility needed. So there's so many technicalities, you know, that okay, why is this, I mean, look at the issue of the IREF for the presidential election. Why did the IREF go off? The court now said, well, it is not in the Electoral Act. It's not in the Constitution. And so, to that extent, you cannot use that to, you know, to invalidate the election. So all of these things, you know, are not helping us in any way. Because look at election petition after election petition, it has always been, you know, decided on technicalities. Look at the case of the Imo State governorship election, you know, where Hope Uzodinma was declared. Hope Uzodinma came and said that, look at, in this polling units were not added. So please add them and look at the results. But the other parties did not say no, don't bring them up. Don't bring up that matter. They kept quiet. In the case of Adams Oshomole versus Professor Sereme Osumbo in Edo State governorship, you know, I mean, I think in 2008 or so, or 2012, the tribunal said, look, remove the disputed votes and then do a recount. And when they did that, Adams Oshomole of then ACN was declared as the winner. Even though Professor Sereme Osumbo had been in government for some time. But what we're saying is that no winner, nobody should be inaugurated until cases are decided at the tribunal. Nobody. Because when you now inaugurate somebody, the person has the state treasury at his disposal, as his beck and call. But and he can use state power, use funds.
The vacuum, we shouldn't allow for a vacuum at any point. So don't you think that...
No, but didn't Kenya do something about it? They decided it before Ruto was sworn in. Ruto was sworn in, as he was inaugurated as the president. So what we need to do is that electoral processes must be concluded within a certain period of time. Then you have the issue of corruption in the judiciary, compromised judicial officers. I think we need to look at the remuneration of judicial officers, the training, then the character of judicial officers to make sure that from time to time, you weed out, you know, corruptible judges, people who can easily be, you weed them out. Then the bar that is made up of Nigerian lawyers should also help us, because it is lawyers who file these cases. It is lawyers who help, you know, politicians to thwart the electoral process. But if we can have lawyers who live above board and say, no, I will not, even though, yes, you're entitled to representation, but I will not. Because I do know that there are lawyers reject certain briefs. I've heard that lawyers reject briefs. You know, murder cases and some of those cases, they reject such briefs. So, if in this case, why not reject it and say, no, I'm not comfortable with the way this whole thing, because we saw the violence that took place that day. We saw the manipulations and everything. So I don't want to get involved.
But if he doesn't, someone else will take up that opportunity.
Not another lawyer.
Yes.
So what we're talking about is that how does it advance the, you know, the credibility of the bar? If we're castigating the bench, how about the bar? It's lawyers who bring those cases for adjudication. Why can't there be that standing declaration that, yes, I will not be a part of this? Because, you know, when the Fourth Republic was just nascent, you know, not nascent, we had this funny phrase. After somebody has, you know, led a client, you know, an election petition, and finally it's thrown out by the Supreme Court or the person loses, the lawyer will come out to say it's a victory for democracy. One lawyer was saying that people who lose should ask the lawyer to refund his fees. You are saying it's a victory for democracy after misleading me. What is victory for democracy? I have lost a petition. You're telling me it's a victory for democracy. So what we are saying is that we must commit ourselves to building the electoral process. We cannot continue to pretend that all is well. All is not well. Look at people not turning up. Elections have consequences.
Yeah, it does.
So you know, you just have to look at the fact that elections should lead to better outcomes in terms of the leadership, the quality of leadership. You don't bring people who are not ready for leadership. You just go and pick them. And you just say, tell us, Baba Sokwe, you know, one godfather somewhere has chosen the person. Somebody who doesn't have credentials. Somebody who forged certificates, you know. And then you just say that one godfather somewhere has said it should be, you know, you should just put the person there. These things cannot continue. Godfatherism is destroying democracy in Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, look at what happened in Lagos in 2023. Thugs came out and said, hey, you look like an Igbo person. Go away. Even one man, a Yoruba man, came in from the US to vote. He was a president. He said, Oga, you look too fine, no. You look too fine, no. Not be people like you suppose they come polling booth. He said, what do you mean? We thought this. He said, yes, I came in from the US. They said, we don't need your vote. Your vote is not needed. And security agencies were there. The state had a commissioner of police. You had military formations, and these things happened. So let me tell you, when policemen, retired policemen come out to protest our pension, I say, I wish you people will suffer more. May you suffer more. Because you are suffering the consequences of your neglect, of your refusal to say, no, I will not be used to thwart the electoral process. Then you come out and say that the government didn't give us enough weapons to fight Boko Haram. This is the consequences of your acquiescing to be used to thwart the electoral process. These things they touch everybody. If ASU goes on strike for 9 months, it will affect everybody. Parents will tell you, we paid for accommodation for my children, and schools have been on strike. That means that rent is wasted. It will touch everybody. Now, people are complaining, the cost of clearance in schools now is high. That one school, they wanted to do a convocation. They now said people should bring 100,000 for convocation gown. When you have leaders who don't prioritize education, of course the university will look at it. Wait a minute. What's the cost of? I mean, what's the convocation? What's the cost of convocation gown now? They will put a price 100,000 for your own good. You will pay now. If not, you not graduate. One university, I just saw the list. One university clearance came to 650,000. A federal university in this country. So if government realize is that it has a responsibility to fund tertiary education, higher education, you won't have that. 650,000. You now tell people, we have student loan. Student loan covering what? You see, we just think we are so clever. We can, we can pretend, put meat under the tongue, and then just look at my mouth is open now. I don't have meat in my mouth. You are deceiving yourself.
Very well so. We can go on and on and on because the issue with Nigeria actually is multifaceted, is hydra-headed. When you caught one, several others pop out. And until we get the right type of leaders, that is the only way we can actually drill this down and ensure that the multifacetedness of Nigeria's issue would come to an end. But until then, we continue to hope and pray that things get better for us as a country and get better for us as a people. But most importantly, like Emeka did say, your vote will count. Do well to participate in whatever it is that would ensure that you will vote come 2027. Thank you so very much, Emeka.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's just about the time we have.